Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Sarada. On today's tutorial, we are going to be learning how to cut and sew a princess that bustier with an asymmetrical neckline. Please do not forget to like, subscribe and leave a comment down below. This is the pattern that we're going to be working with. On our previous video, we went ahead to draft a princess that bustier. Now we're going to go ahead and just make few adjustments on this. At the bottom side, on the side of the pattern, I went up by 1.5 inch to give it more of a curve, and I'm just going to go ahead now to create my asymmetrical neckline. So here I'm going in by 1.75 and I'm going to go down by 7 on whatever side you want this to be on, whether it's on the left or the right hand side. And then from the other part of the neckline, we're just going to use our curved rule to make a curve to meet the end or the edge of that 7 inches line that we had just created, and then make marks to signify that that part needs to be cut out. At the back part of it, on the side as well, I'm going to also be going up by 1.5 inch. Now if you decide to go ahead to redraft your patterns, just remember to go up on the side by 1.5 inch or 1 inch. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut all the things that I need to cut before we go into transferring the patterns proper. And for how much fabric I used 2.5 yards because my client is on the bigger side. I've also gone ahead to iron my stay onto my fabric and my lining. To cut out the center part, you would notice that the fabric is not folded into two. Rather, the pattern is placed on a flat surface, and I'm going ahead to basically mark out 1/2 inch all around this. But for the side, the case is different. I went ahead to fold the fabric into two, and I went ahead to place my pattern paper on it, and I'll also go ahead to mark out 1/2 inch all around this. Never forget to use your pins to hold your patterns down in place, and also do not forget to cut properly and accurately so you never get the regret afterwards. That will be after cutting. I just thought to remind you that every action that is taken on this main fabric is also being taken on the lining piece. I would also advise you before cutting to take your time, cross-check your work, and know that there are no mistakes that are going to be made whilst you are going ahead to cut. Now that we have everything cut out, I'm going to go ahead to follow the pattern paper to basically figure out where my underbust is and go ahead to notch it. I'll be doing this for both the mid part of it and the side part of it. So basically just go ahead and just find out where the underbust is and then go ahead to give it just a little notch. For the back area here, I've also gone ahead to just cut out everything I need to cut out, both lining piece and main piece. Now the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead, because this asymmetrical neckline has to also follow through into the back. So I went ahead and I laid down the back piece. I'm basically going ahead now to trace the asymmetrical line on the back piece of where I want it to be at, and then I'm just going to do my little doodling and then I'm going to go ahead to cut that out. And this is what mine will look like when I'm done cutting it out. In the previous video, I had gone ahead to make the neckline for the back a v-neck. and that would be the reason why mine looks that way. So now we have everything in place. I'm just going to go ahead and place my back piece onto my front piece, both main piece and lining piece, just to help me figure out where exactly I want the asymmetrical neckline for the back piece is going to be at, right? And then go ahead to cut afterwards. Again, do not forget to use your pins to hold this down. It is totally your decision to decide whether you want the asymmetrical neckline at your back, on the left or the right hand side. At the neckline area, you can see that I went up by half an inch before going ahead to cut. So you should do that also for yours. Now that that has been dealt with, let's go into making the cloth proper. So I've gone ahead to cut out my wording that I want to use for my bustier to give it shape, and basically I'm going ahead to place this on the parts where we had notched earlier to signify that that was our under bust area, and this is what it will look like. I'm going to go over to my sewing machine and sew this down at both edges, and I'm also going to do the same for the side piece. Place my wadding onto the main piece and then go ahead to sew at the edges as well. After which I'll go ahead to place the side onto the center and sew together by half an inch. As I put the main pieces together, I will also be putting the lining pieces together. So when we're done, we can now put both main piece and lining piece together without any hassle. While I was cutting the lining piece, I went up for the lining piece by 1.5 inch. You can go ahead and do 1.5 inch depending on how much swoop you want. Now that we're done putting all the pieces together, I'm going to go ahead and place main piece onto lining piece or vice versa and close by half an inch. You want to go ahead to follow the line just like you drew it, and trust me, when you do that and go ahead to notch afterwards, you and turn it around, you would get the perfect neckline that you had ever seen or have ever seen. After we go ahead to notch, the next thing we're going to do is go ahead to top stitch. Now I like to top stitch, and what that does for me is it makes sure that my lining piece is laid down flat so it doesn't show in front of the main piece whatsoever. This action will also be repeated at the back part of this piece. Now that we're done with all those processes, this is what it's going to look like after you go ahead to also iron. This is what it's going to look like. Like I said before, I closed the sides, the neck area, and the bottom part. So the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and close the shoulder areas. Now we're going to place one shoulder onto the other and use our pins to hold this down. Now this is what it's supposed to look like, right sides facing each other and the lining parts also facing each other. We'll do that for the other part too, and we'll go ahead and close this by 3/4 inch. After we go ahead to close the shoulder area, I'm also going to go ahead to close the sides and add a zipper to this. So first close the shoulder, then close the sides, then add a zipper to it and the sleeve. And for the sleeve, I decided to go with a petal sleeve because I felt it would be much more formal and it fitted the look of this very dramatic asymmetrical neckline back and front. And this is what it looks like all finished. And let me tell you, when my client wore it, she loved everything about it. Do you guys notice how all the patterns on the Ankara actually form like either a circle or an army of a line. I love how this came out. I hope you try this for yourself. I hope you love the process of making yours as I have enjoyed the process of making mine. And with that being said, y'all, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Don't forget to turn on your notification bell so you'll be notified when I post a new video. Don't forget to love yourself because I love you. Have a beautiful day or night, whichever it is you live for. Bye.